I build relationships and build trust with my clients.
Fantastic, good. How do you do that?
Getting to know them, getting to know what they want, and creating that value proposition.
Are you a sales guy or are you a psychologist?
I just become one now after
good.
listening to you.
Good, good, okay. All right. Ask me what I do for a living. Ask me. Ask
What
me
do you do for a living?
What I do for a living. Okay, cool. That's fantastic, Mr. Sales Guy. Thank you very much. Thanks for asking. I actually manage a group of individuals who are responsible for changing people's lives. Making money for my company and making money for themselves. I'm talking a crap load of money, right? Day in, day out. So what do you think about that?
It's great.
Okay. I'm not saying he's right or I'm right or he's wrong or I'm wrong. Which one's more compelling? Which one's more compelling? My job's more compelling? You guys are interested in what I do? Exactly. It's the audience. Okay. But if I have read people correctly and I talked about money, people's eyes lit up. I talked about helping and changing people's lives. That's a motivator, right? I talked about doing something that makes a difference, right? There's nothing wrong with what he said. Suddenly, what I say sounds a little bit more compelling, or maybe it doesn't sound a little bit more compelling, depending on the audience, right? And that's a critical piece here, because I'm organically promoting myself. It's a promotional exercise organically. He was organically promoting himself as well. We're not showing off about what we do, but we're organically promoting ourselves. That's the first technique. Second technique is systemic within the organization. Right? There are communication channels, there are internal websites, there are seminars, there are brown bag lunches, there are projects, there are meetings, there are focus groups, there are networking groups. Get involved. That's how your personal brand gets noticed in the organization. All right? Don't shy away from those things. Get involved. Those things help you get noticed. And they're for free. You don't have to put any investment into it. Next time some project comes up, your senior management team says, we need somebody to volunteer on this committee, put your hand up. Okay? We need somebody to mentor this person, put your hand up. We need somebody to look at this particular issue, put your hand up. You're not going to get paid extra for it, but your brand equity within your organization is going to accelerate. All right? The third, which is a very interesting one, is third-party driven. So you're a good personal promoter, organic promoter. Systemically, you're taking advantage of the tools and the vehicles within your own organization as to how you're going to promote yourself. The third one is now start to find some champions. Start to find those people who believe in you, who want to be associated with you, and start to use those people to promote you as well. Right? And the flip side to that is find your detractors as well. How many people know of someone in their organization that has not got the best of intentions for you? Okay? I do. And for the rest of you who don't, or not putting their hands up, I encourage you to go and find out who those people are, because they do exist. Right? But third-party driven aspects of personal promotion are find your champions, because I also know people who are actually attaching their wagon to my train, in my organization, because they want to be associated with me, and so they're my champions. When I know when they go into a meeting and they talk about what I talked about at another meeting, it's going to be good stuff. But I also know my detractors as well. There's actually one sitting upstairs in this Toronto room. Okay, and it's one of the reasons why I don't work here. But I'm still in the organization because I found another group of individuals in another location that are my champions, and I'm investing my time building my own brand there, so that when I do come back to Toronto, for example, all right, I have that ability to get over the detractors. Okay? Just giving you a real life example here. All right? Because I'm aware of this stuff. So you guys need to become aware of it as well. And it's important for you to understand that the detractors and the champions need to be actively managed, because they're affecting the promotion of your personal brand. All right?
Is there any way just to turn the detractors into champions?
Good question. Suggestions on that. How do you turn your detractors into champions? So I'm sitting in a meeting.
Promote them.
I'm sorry?
Promote them.
Well, what happens if you don't have the power to promote them? What happens if they're a direct competitor of yours? They're a direct peer of yours?
They still promote their brand without directly impacting it, because what have you got to lose?
Yeah. Okay. What else?
You can make them make friends.
Yeah. You can approach them. The book talks about 2 or 3 different ways that you can approach that situation, because there's a live example of it. You can approach them head on and say, "What's your problem?"
Usually you destroy an enemy by making them.
Correct. What's your problem? We're fighting towards a common. We're trying to find some approach the situation and actually confront them, or hopefully you can break them down that way. You'll just scare them into submission. Maybe it happens. Some people are like that because if you find that they have insecurities that you can take advantage of, go after those insecurities, right? Okay. Because that detractor mentality might be because they have their own insecurities, right? They don't dress as sharply as you do, right? They can't afford the couplings you can't afford, right? Something like that. I don't know. What happens if that's not the right approach? You try to win them over, right? Okay, hey, come on, let's go out for lunch. And that's happened to me. Person's come over and said, I detect a certain amount of animosity between us. I said, your perception is absolutely fantastic. Let's go for lunch and talk about this animosity that you're detecting. Okay? And then we had a conversation. What else can we do? What else can we do with detractors?
Neutralize them.
Neutralize them. How?
Well, just confront them and, find out what the real issue is.
Yeah, that's fine. We've done that.
Yeah.
How do we neutralize them? Go ahead. Fire them? No. I'm talking about these people. We obviously don't have control. Well, yeah, I mean, that'd be great if you could fire them. Yeah. But we don't have control over their careers. They are actually our peers and they're our competitors, okay? They're just as fast risers in the organization, as focused and as adaptable, as you are. But they're your detractors. So how can you combat them?
You raise your credibility among the same group to a higher level.
Exactly. Use your champions as your tools, right? So identify who their champions might be, okay? And counteract that with using your champions, okay, in direct and indirect situations, right? And that's one of the strategies people involve all the time. It happens in politics all the time, right? You have somebody, a member of the opposition, who is countering your argument or countering your proposal when you're proposing something, legislation or whatever. You will go and find, your champions will go and find their champions and try to break them down, right? And once you break them down, you then bring them to your side, right? So you don't even need to confront them directly. Just find their champions and go and deal with the little guys, right? Because they're usually the weaker ones. They're the ones tying the wagon to that person's train, right? Okay? Does that sort of answer your question? Help you? Okay, good. You got some detractors I think you need to be dealing with. Yeah. Okay,
Kamran?
Yes.
Kamran, what about using them as coaches?
Using your detractors as coaches?
Right.
Certainly a possibility.
So
But
when you make somebody feel important, they automatically like you, right? That's basic psychology.
I would say that's a short-term approach, but manage your risk properly
Okay.
in that situation. Okay. Yeah, give them, if they get turned on by the fact that you gave them that
Opportunity, right.
or that opportunity, that's great.
Okay.
But use it as a short-term strategy, not as a long-term strategy. Leopard can't change its spots. If you're my detractor today,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that way, regardless of how much attention I give you. So I'll work with you, maybe, give you that little bit of focus and attention, but once you're in my bad books, you're in my bad books. Organizationally speaking, I'm not talking about in a relationship perspective, or I'm talking about in a work perspective, because there's got to be something compelling for that person to be a detractor of yours, right? And at the end of the day, I found, everybody know who Benazir Bhutto is? She quoted somebody the other day, and it was quite interesting. It was some 18th or 19th century politician in the US, and she said there's no permanent enemies or friends, there's only permanent interests. Okay? And I thought, wow, this lady went to Oxford and Yale, she learned something. and it's interesting because there's only, as long as you find those people who have the permanent interests with you, you're right, you could switch them because they could be your detractors today and they could be your champions tomorrow, as long as you find a common interest that supports both your goals. But I would just be wary, short term. I'm just like that, personally.
But if the animosity is only based on work relationships, so it's strictly related
which
to work.
Which is what we're talking about right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what about finding an opportunity to work with them and proving yourself to them.
Agreed.
And
That's a good suggestion. Yeah, absolutely.
you know, at times you're not sure if somebody is really a derailer or
Absolutely.
not. So you don't want to go and confront them and
Absolutely.
say, well, you know, I think we have
Absolutely.
we have some problems.
Yeah.
You don't want to just confront people.
Good.
But what if it's a personality problem? I mean, you can't stand it. Like,
That happens too.
yeah, but what do? You can't go
Then you move on.
to space and say, hey, I don't like you.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, you don't say that, but
yeah, but what if it's not talkable? What if,
it depends on depends on your sphere of influence, and it depends on their sphere of influence. How influential are they in terms of affecting your career, and vice versa? If you don't want to deal with it because you can't stand the sight of them, don't deal with them. Whatever you do, okay? But understand what your sphere of influence is and what their sphere of influence is. If for some reason their influence intersects with yours, okay? And somebody somewhere is listening to them more than they're listening to you, you got to deal with that. Again, go and look at those champions, and go and look at those other people that are affecting and influencing what's happening with you in your career. At the end of the day, you're managing your own career. You don't care less about that person's career. But you need to find out who is within their sphere of influence that intersects with your sphere of influence. Okay? Everybody's seen those Venn diagrams, right? With the 2 circles intersecting, right? That's the intersection point. That common region is where you need to identify and then to assess whether or not you actually fall within that or this person falls within that. And how much influence they carry over that. Okay? Now it sounds all very esoteric and analytical. Trust me, it works.
Suggestion.
Go ahead.
Their superiors and yours don't want to hear about problems because their job is to make relationships work.
Okay.
If that detractor is going and complaining and criticizing, you should approach the same people and compliment the detractor. And emphasize to those superiors
Yeah.
that everyone has their own individual strengths and weaknesses, and you should appreciate theirs, no matter what situations might pop up.
Yeah.
That's the kind of response a superior wants to hear. They don't want to hear complaints, they don't want problems.
Exactly.
If the detractor is bringing negativity and you're bringing positivity, who are they going to like that?
Absolutely, and that's the other aspect of it. What we've been talking about is how to deal with that detractor. What you've recommended is an excellent suggestion for how to actually then deal with the superiors, which is more important. Right? Is how to deal with that relationship with your superior that is being affected by this negativity. So that's a great. That's a great
situation right now.
Yep.
I haven't dealt with the person head on because it's irrelevant what they think.
Yeah.
What's relevant is what our superiors think.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the key. So understand what the situation is, understand how much influence they have over that situation and who they're influencing, and then go back to those people and deal with it in the way that you just described. So.
And a final note, someone very elderly told me about a month ago, it's not good enough to just do your job well. You have to communicate and give the right impression that you're doing your job well.
And that is an excellent segue into our next point. Thank you for your elder. You've got to understand that we're talking about your persona, we're talking about the product that you've developed as yourself, and the packaging that you put around it. Thank you for your insights. And how you're promoting that. Lastly, but most importantly, you've got to give yourself a feeling of worthiness, okay, that you want to go out there and you want to run after success. Okay? There's no point doing all this stuff if you're going to sit there and think, you know what, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this 9-to-5 gig, my X number of $1,000 that I make every year. I'm okay with it. If you're okay with it, then you don't need this. I wasted my time. Well, not completely, but you know, I clearly what I said did not resonate and was not adding value to what you want to do. All right? But you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to go through this exercise and you want to promote to yourself and you want to be effectively leveraging your brand rather in your own organizations, then you've got to give yourself that sense of self-worth. All right? And you've got to build on that and you've got to inculcate that day in, day out. Because if you give up on yourself, then nobody's gonna do it for you. All right. So, are you motivated to be or to pursue being extraordinary? Are you a compelling person? Is there always an element of wow about you, or are you a self-doubter? Right? Is there always a kind of an apologetic demeanor that you bring to the table? And most importantly, and the last point, which was quite interesting, the way they approached it in the book. How many people are members of clubs? Club memberships? Yeah? That's a good point. You're members, right? You understand the people, you understand the social network, you understand what people bring to the table. And I know what I can get away with when I speak to Urs, maybe not to Simon, right? And they both know that as well about me. Because we're all members of the same club. We know the norms, we know the mores of what's going on. But when the guests come in, we can spot them a mile away, right? Nah, here's a guest. They're not a member, they're a guest. Somebody brought them along. They don't know the social norms. They don't know what can be said, what cannot be said. They don't know where the limits are. They don't know where the invisible barriers or the subtle, yeses and nos may come from, right? So think of yourselves as either a member or a guest in your own organization. Are you a member or are you a guest? Right? Do you know the score? Do you know the deal? Do you know the ropes? Do you know the boundaries and the edges of where you play in that organization? Or are you a guest? You're just there, do your job, do your thing, go home, watch TV, I don't know, do whatever, play Wii, Nintendo Wii, and that's it, right? So that's really the culmination of what I'm trying to say and what we've been talking about here. You've got to differentiate yourself. Am I a member in this organization that I'm working in, or am I a guest? I'm just a temporary guest. You could be working there for 30 years and you still feel like a guest because you don't fit in. Right? You don't get it. All right? And they don't, and they know you don't get it. Okay? That's why you've been doing the same damn job for 30 years. All right? But you could be a member and you get it, and then you kind of you move in the right circles and you move in the right influence. You move with the right influencers and the right spheres of value and success and achievement, and that then allows you to take your career to the next level. All right? Any questions? Concerns? Issues? Did I offend anybody? Did I not offend anybody? Good.
One thing I'd like to ask or maybe comment on is that you talked about a lot of things and they are all very, I would say, important things, but you're not talking about improving your own skill set, improving your own work that you're doing, how good you're in that. Because if you're not good in that work, I mean, that's all just organizational politics that you're good in. But I would say that if you're good in your work ethic and you work hard in your profession, I think these other matters, of course, you have to take care of them, but then I think they can take care of themselves.
You think so?
In a way, not completely, but I would say that you have to be good in your work. That's the first thing. And these things can take care of them.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, this is a evolutionary stage that hopefully we're all going to get to, or perhaps we're already in, right? Where the technical job that we are doing is sound, and technically we're doing a very good job. But now we need to raise the game to the next level. All right? Every office and every organization, every industry, every company, every group has organizational politics. If you subscribe to them, and if you know how to play your game correctly in those politics, you'll move in that organization. Otherwise, it's a voluntary thing. You don't need to do it if you don't want to. But technically, you might be perfect. You might be doing the same job technically for 20 years. Okay? But why did that new kid who came from that fancy MBA school, all right, get promoted 10 positions above you in the space of 5 years? Okay? Because he or she knew how to play the game.
When I say technical, I don't mean just that you're doing only the work that you're doing. Because,
right.
for example, if you're, let's say, an accounts manager, or let's say, taking another example, marketing manager, because you're more detail. So if you're a marketing manager, you should be able to understand what is going on in your market, what is the next level, what's the expectation.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. When I say technically, I don't mean technically only the specific job that you're doing, but I'm talking about overall what's required of you to be able to win the next position.
Absolutely. You have to have the knowledge of what you're doing. You have to have the understanding of what you're doing from a job perspective. Obviously, I'm not saying forget how to do your job and start dealing with the politics of the organization. No, I'm talking about
continuous learning.
Absolutely, and continuous learning is part of that. You have to be subscribing to continuous learning as part of your product. So point number 2 is looking at your product. You don't have a sound product if you don't know how to do your job properly, right? And that's the only way that's only the achievements that you will be able to broadcast out of doing your job correctly will be part of